Hello everyone, I'm Runal Mehta and welcome back to our channel digiaid.com. We are your digital aid and we provide free courses on the subjects of business and marketing.
Let's start with the topic of a minimum viable product. Let's start with the introduction first. A minimum viable product is the simplest form of a product that has enough features to be useful to early users who can then provide feedback for future development. In a way, it is the first version of a product which has just enough features to be usable by early customers. These are sufficient to deliver the basic value and ensure verification by early adopters. Examples include Airbnb. In October 2007, former schoolmates and roommates, Joe and Brian, moved to San Francisco. They found their apartment's rent was unaffordable. They developed an idea. They started putting an air mattress in the living room and turned it to bed and breakfast. From this came airbedandbreakfast.com, as we know, Airbnb. Another brand that made it out of an MVP model is Amazon. Amazon's initial website was very simple, just a catalog of books. If a customer ordered one, Amazon bought it straight from the distributor and shipped it. Iteration after iteration followed. Over the years, Amazon started to sell more products, bought warehouses, and personalized their website for each visitor. Now moving on, developers that pay attention to producing a minimum viable product can avoid unnecessary and time-intensive work. They continue to develop versions that are already available. They react to comments, either accepting or refuting assumptions about the product's needs. There are so many popular brands that started off as MVPs. For example, Spotify, Airbnb, as we discussed, Zappos.com, Dropbox, and Uber. In 2001, Frank Robinson coined the term MVP. It was popularized by Eric Ries and Steve Blank. Now moving on to what can be a minimum viable product. Well, it could be your landing page, it could be a website, it could be a mobile app, it could be a program, a physical product, or even a service. So what are the key elements required in a minimum viable product? They are, first is functionality. Users should get a clear value from the MVP's features. Next, the MVP's design should meet the top industry standards. Then comes the usability quotient. Intuition and ease of use are important to a minimum viable product. And finally, reliability. Rigorous testing should be used to keep production quality standards high. Moving on to how do you build a minimum viable product? First, define a problem you want to solve. The first step is to figure out what's the product purpose is. What do I want the stuff for should be answered. The value of the good should be summarized in a few words. Then we move on to the second stage, and that is, define the target audience. A complete description of a person who will not only like your product but will also purchase without the hesitation is required. Their level of education and age should be recorded. Their job and income should be determined. Hobbies and behaviors can provide you with a full picture of your consumer. Number 3. Evaluate your competitors. It's critical not to be egoistic about the product's uniqueness. This is mainly true in the cases when there are other competitors in the market. What do? You look at the competition. Their strengths and flaws should be discovered. This will assist in determining the product's functioning. Competitors can be categorized based on how they compete for market dominance. In fact, just look at your competitor's USP. Number 4. Define the user flow. A user's route to reach a product's major aim is referred to as user flow. This should be a logical and obvious path. The design and content needs of a website or mobile application are determined by a user flow. It is critical to understand what customers want from a product in order to create an excellent user flow. Number 5. List of features and their priority. All the features of the planned product need to be listed and specified. Instead of describing how to accomplish something, a feature description should show how should someone act. And finally, test and learn. This includes alpha and beta testing. Alpha testing in an in-house test. In this, a small number of individuals, mostly family members or friends, evaluate a product. If this works, we move on to beta testing, which is conducted before the product goes into the further development, but allows real people to use it for a few weeks, after which their feedbacks are reviewed and adapted in the product. Once you have a minimum viable product, how do you market it? Well, pretty straightforward. First, you tap social media influencers. Startups can get social media influencers to endorse your product for a small fee. Next, writing blogs. A blog post can be used to educate people on why they should buy a certain product and the value it may provide. It's one of the most effective forms of product marketing. Next, customer reviews. Customer feedbacks are sought. Customers will inform other people about something they like if it appeals to them. This is referred to as word-of-mouth advertising. This is an essential tool for establishing a brand, especially if it's a minimum viable product. Next, video content marketing. Influencers frequently produce daily video content. It builds trust and a devoted following. Brand creation is aided by this. Next, Pre-order discounts. Customers who buy early get discounts. Then comes sponsored ads. Social media platforms including Facebook and Instagram advertisements, Google AdSense and other platforms allow a product to reach an ever-expanding number of consumers, which could be used to advertise your MVP. And finally, email marketing. All types of companies must use email marketing. These companies might be huge or modest. Finally, let's look at the benefits of a minimum viable product. With the fewest resources utilized, the product hypothesis may be tested. Next benefit, engineering hours are not wasted. Minimal resources are used efficiently to create a functional product, a working prototype. Production speed is great. Minimal effort is needed while product making. It assists in understanding consumers' interests and requirements before full product is produced. Learning is accelerated at this pace. And finally, the brand image is quickly established. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on how to build a minimum viable product. These are the list of sources and links referred to for our content in the video. Thank you and stay tuned for our more videos.